Betsy Coder-Anderson, leading her team to 48 victories in 2 seasons. This Lady Jack, as a senior, led her team in assists and was ranked 4th in scoring. That year, the Lady Jacks finished 9th in the American Press poll, and she played from 75 through 77. Betsy Coder-Anderson. Next up, Terry Black-Otto. This acclaimed Lady Jack played with SFA from 77 to 80. During her reign with the Lady Jack, she helped lead the team to the 1980 AIAW National Tournament. In 3 of her 4 years with the team, the Lady Jacks were ranked nationally. And during her senior year, the Lady Jacks were ranked 5th in the Associated Press polls. Terry Black-Otto. Lizelle Brooks. This former Lady Jack All-American played from 86 through 88. In Lady Jack history, she ranks 3rd in scoring average with 19 points per game and ranks 2nd in 3-point percentage of 36.7%. During her reign as a Lady Jack, she had 2 30 or more point performances. As a senior, she was named All-Southland Conference and led her team to the NCAA tournaments. Lizelle Brooks. Kane Moody Butler. This former Lady Jack standout played from 72 through 74. She played on 2 teams which advanced in the AIAW National Tournament and helped lead those teams to 48 wins. One of the members of the overall 72-73 Lady Jack basketball team and a member of the Lady Jack Hall of Fame. Portia Hill Hatton. This outstanding Lady Jack played at SFA from 88 through 90. She is one of only 3 Lady Jacks in history to be named to the Kodak All-American team. Despite only playing 2 seasons at SFA, she ranks on the all-time top 10 list in 5 different categories and accumulated over 1,500 points. She is a member of the Lady Jack 40-point club, making her one of only 5 players to accomplish this feat. Named Southland Conference Player of the Year in 89 and 90, she currently holds 5 NCAA tournament records, while at SFA she earned several district honors, such as being named to the 1988 Jones Cup team, 89 World University Games, and the 1990 U.S. National Team. After finishing her collegiate career at SFA, she played professionally in France. Portia Hill Hatton. Latasha Lewis. This former Lady Jack played from 93 through 96. She finished her career ranked in the top 10 all-time at SFA in assists and steals. She helped lead the Lady Jacks to their highest ever regular season finish in the polls in 93, when they finished the season ranked 4th in the Associated Press Top 25 poll. She also holds the SFA single season game record for steals with 11. Latasha Lewis. Katrina Price. Among her many honors, this current Lady Jack is the school's all-time leading scorer with over 2,100 points in her career. She was a member of the 1996 U.S. Select Team, the 96 U.S. National Trials Team, and the 97 R. Williams-Jones Cup Team, which won a silver medal. She was named an Associated Press Honorable Mention All-American in 96-97, was 96-97 Southland Conference Player of the Year, has earned MVP honors in 7 tournaments, currently has a streak of 77 straight double-digit scoring games, actually 78 now, and currently ranks 7th in the country in scoring at 23 points per game. Katrina Price. Incidentally, Katrina will be receiving her award following the close of the season, as NCAA rules prohibit receiving awards during an active status. Our next Lady Jack player, Deborah Kane Thomas. This Lady Jack played from 76 to 78 and finished her career with the 8th highest scoring average in SFA history, and also finished the top 10 field goal attempts in SFA history. On March 10, 78, she became one of only 10 Lady Jacks to score 34 or more points in a game. Her teams were ranked in the top 15 for 2 straight years. Deborah Kane Thomas. Dana Reed Westbrook. Playing from 87 to 90, during which time she scored over 1,500 points, which is 9th best all-time and still ranks in the all-time Lady Jack top 10 in 6 categories, including top 3-point percentage shooting in the school's history. Dana Reed Westbrook. Denise Smith Yankee played from 76 to 77. During this time, the Lady Jacks were ranked 9th in the Associated Press polls. She led the Lady Jacks to the TAIAW State Tournament, as well as the SAIAW Regional Tournament. Denise Smith Yankee. These are the present members who are here tonight, or this afternoon, the Silver Anniversary Team. Throughout the evening, we will also name the ones that could not attend this afternoon. But let's hear it for our Silver Anniversary Team, the finest Lady Jack players in history. As we have a regular start announcing some of those others, including Vanessa Anderson, who played from 78 to 81. Latanya Bonnet, who played from 93 to 96 and leads the SFA in blocks. Barbara Brown, who played from 78 to 81. Stacy Brown, who played from 89 to 92, made the team. Evelyn Butler from 86 to 89. Connie Cole, who played from 87 to 90. Lori Davis from 90 to 93. Doris Melderhoff from 74 to 77. Stacey Jackson, who played from 89 to 92. Ann Johnson from 76 to 78. Abby Mayo from 81 to 84. Annie Norris, who played from 85 through 88. Deneen Parker from 90 to 93. Melissa Pay from 89 to 92. Rosalind Holt from 81 through 84. Trinia Tillis from 90 to 94. Rosie Walker from 79 to 80. Mary Weisinger from 78 to 81, and Trina Williams from 85 to 88 closes out the Silver Anniversary Team of Lady Jack Basketball.
Yeah, she will be up here in a few minutes, I think. I'll make sure.
Hello, little boy. How are you?
Yeah. I'm gonna put this
on the table over there. Here, you want this? No?
It is now, Daddy. Terry opened yours.
Don't
I
look.
opened it.
Don't open it unless Mama does. Well, there is a Houston dignitary with us today.
Mr. Dingleberry.
Hope y'all do good. Thank you. These two, Miss Texas last time, Jody walked up and picked that one. She said, I would never see this Coliseum again.
So it's her fault.
She said, I will not.
To hear it here tonight from some of the biggest names in sports who have made their way to Baton Rouge to join us for tonight's celebration. We'll share some laughs, we'll hear some good stories, we may even shed a few tears, but tonight is a celebration. We hope that everybody here enjoys why we are gathered together. Now, first things first, Sue Gunter is not with us right now. The good news is she is coming. She will be here a little later, which is why we're trying to keep to the tight schedule, because Sue would not miss this, and she will be here tonight. Doctor's orders won't allow her to overexert herself, but she is planning on being here. She'll probably get here in a little over an hour. Probably the most difficult thing we have to ask, especially with so many people who've come in from so far away to celebrate tonight, is that we have to ask you to respect Sue's space. Obviously, we'd all love to form a big line and stay here till 11, 12 o'clock, giving her hugs and kisses, taking pictures, telling stories, but we just can't do that, and doctor's orders won't allow that. So because of the health restrictions and because of the restrictions that the doctors have placed on her, we have to ask that we show your admiration and your love from a distance. She is planning on getting a chance to speak to you through the microphone, and she will be here, but then we're going to be taking her out so we can make sure we get her back safely. In regards to that, if you do have things that you want to say, back at the entrance off to my left, back here in the corner, there are 2 large Nike bags that if you have cards, envelopes, notes, anything you're writing on a program, anything you want, you can leave it in those bags. If you want to sign the guest book, there's a guest book on that table as well. So that is at least a way, and we of course presented that to Coach, so she'll know everybody that was here, so you can feel free to say whatever you want, but we have to ask you to respect the doctor's orders and hers that we just Sue, you look great. It's great having you out here. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight with all your friends here. So get comfortable, relax, get ready to enjoy your evening. Hopefully everybody's enjoyed your dinner, and we're getting ready to enjoy some dessert. And let me introduce to you the man who's behind tonight's meal. I'm going to bring him up here to introduce the dessert he's doing, and that's Chef KD. And joining Chef KD to get ready for this dessert and keep the program going is the athletic director for LSU, Coach Gunter.
We represent our country in Moscow, and as most of you know, the United States decided to boycott those Olympics. Despite the boycott, though, all United States Olympians were presented with rings for their accomplishments in being selected to represent their country. That ring was one of Coach Gunter's most prized possessions, but unfortunately, it was stolen several years ago when her team here at LSU was on a road trip, and I believe that road trip was to Georgia. Sorry about that, Andy. Now, I could expand on that, Andy, but I will move on. Because Coach Summit is also here, and I think she had some things taken when she was in the state of Georgia one time. Anyway. With the help of USA Basketball, Sue, your staff has worked very hard to have that 1980 Olympic ring duplicated. And at this time, Coach Billy Moore, who coached the 1976 Olympic team, of which Sue was the assistant coach, is going to present you with that ring. Love affairs going in the Baton Rouge community is between Sue and her Fast Break Club. These are some of the greatest fans in the world. They literally support the Lady Tiger basketball program coast to coast, and I say that in the literal sense because somehow or another, the last 3 or 4 years, it's been determined that we're in the West region and we've been sent coast to coast. On behalf of the Fast Break Club, we're pleased to present you with a commemorative wooden sculpture that has been carved by the renowned artist Henry Watson. And it's my understanding that both Skip Bertman and Nick Saban have Watson carvings, and I've also been told that one has even been presented to the Pope. Jack Javert and the Capital Area Tigers would like to present you with a Sue Gunter portrait that depicts your long and storied tenure as a Lady Tiger basketball coach. Most of you in this room who are from Louisiana know Jack. He was a former LSU football player and has become quite famous for his various portraits and paintings of LSU athletics. I understand that Jack is in the room, and if he is, please, Jack, would you stand and let everyone here recognize you and thank you for this contribution. Jack's right over there. There he is.
Can't be there to help celebrate this special evening for you, but I just wanted you to know from Athens, Greece, how much I think of you and how much you've been a part of my life for the last 30 years, and what a terrific coach you are, and what you've taught me throughout my years and also through life. And you've really made an impact on me, and I can't thank you enough for being my friend. And you have touched so many people, and I feel so blessed that you've been a part of my life. I just want to thank you and wish you a wonderful, wonderful evening.
The talent, the time, and the expertise of this young man who did the first banquet that Sue Gunter had when she came here. Ladies and gentlemen, Victor Howell. Thanks so much for being here. The coaching talent in this room is overwhelming. Only greatness can bring all these people together. At some time, I guess, in every young person's life, there comes a force that takes them with leadership, direction, expertise, poise, competitiveness, and more. At some time in their lives, young girls are fortunate enough to find that in sports or another activity. That force has been provided, obviously, by Sue Gunter for so many young ladies. I don't mean just as a basketball coach. I don't mean a master of drills. I don't mean a super recruiter or a great conditioner, although she was all of those, as everybody knows. But I mean a friend, as Ann said, somebody that you could go to. For 22 years, I've watched her bring groups together to a place where only teams can go. I've watched her take teams and have those beautiful moments of isolation where everything came together at exactly the right time and to precisely the right degree. Only special people can do that. I want you to know that upstairs and around in the concourse, the athletic department has put in a new concourse, so to speak. I want you to know that next year there'll be a $5 million improvement which will change all the seats inside the PMAC. And as John Brady knows and Pokey Chapman knows, those changes are the result of some greatness before them. In Dale Brown, and of course in Sue. If you'll take a look right behind me, you're going to see an honor bestowed only on 4 prior people in this great arena that Dale and Sue have built. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the banner right above me. Got anything yet, Dale? Showing yet? Not yet.
There it goes.
All right, it's coming. At a basketball game.
To please stand while I do my presentation.
Of the U.S. Olympic team in 1976 and had Sue Gunter as her assistant coach. The first coach to lead 2 different schools to national titles, and you'll hear some interesting stories about how she and Sue first met. A legend, ladies and gentlemen, Billy Moore. Billy? A member of the Basketball Hall of Fame and the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, a winning percentage up in Ruston, Louisiana, Louisiana Tech at 87%. Yes, that's why people went when they schedule them to have to play. Led the Lady Bulldogs to the 1988 NCAA titles. Lady Bulldogs, Lady Texters, my apologies, Coach Barmore. And the fastest to 500 wins in women's basketball history. Ladies and gentlemen, the former coach of Louisiana Tech, Lady Texters, Coach Leon Barmore. Another member of the Basketball Hall of Fame and the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. Also a member of the 700 Win Club. In women's college basketball, there are 3 of those members. All 3 of them are here tonight. A member of the 800 Win Club. 4th on the list behind Dean Smith, Adolph Rupp, and somebody that we will introduce in just a moment. Coached at Sam Houston and at the University of Texas at Arlington before coaching at the University of Texas. Led the University of Texas to 183-game winning streak in the Southwest Conference from 1978 through 1990. Think about that. Every time you played a conference game against her for 12 years, you left with a big L. You want to know why the Southwest Conference doesn't exist anymore? She wore it out. Ladies and gentlemen, head coach from the University of Texas, Coach Jody Conrad. The winningest coach in LSU men's basketball history who revived a basketball program and took it to new heights, much like the woman we are honoring tonight. He retired in 1997, took his Tigers to 2 Final Four appearances, and looks great when you consider that most recently we were all scared that he was in a hospital with health concerns, but we are so glad he looks as good as he is. He told me he's still traveling more than he needs to, but his travels brought him to the Maravich Assembly Center tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the former head basketball coach of the LSU Fighting Tigers, Coach Dale Brown. Another member of Basketball's Hall of Fame and the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, a member of the 700 Win Club, a member of the 800 Win Club, and she is number 3 on the list behind Dean Smith and Adolph Rupp. Has led her team to 6 national championships, and of course with the runner-up this year with the Final Four down in New Orleans. Co-captain of the 1976 Olympic team, of which Sue was the assistant coach, and was also Sue's assistant on the 1980 Olympic team. We're happy to have her here in Baton Rouge tonight. She'll be coming back to Baton Rouge in February for a game that you will see on ESPN. Ladies and gentlemen, the head coach of the Tennessee Lady Volunteers, Coach Pat Summit. And finally, she was a Kodak All-American guard who led LSU to the first SEC title in 1991. Played in, depending on how you say it, either Albany or Albany, as they used to tell us when we were doing the broadcast. Beat the University of Tennessee, sorry Pat, by 5 to win that SEC championship, and has been on the sidelines with Sue Gunter ever since. She is now the head coach of the LSU Lady Tiger basketball program, Coach Pokey Chapman.
Believe it or not, she thought she was a pretty good second baseman.
And we got to know each other then, and I just want her to know that when it came time for me to pick an assistant coach for the Olympics in Montreal, I wasn't about to pick a singles hitter. It had nothing to do with her softball skills, all right? It came time for me to pick someone to be my assistant coach. I think Sue and I, we really never talked about this, but this was before there was no role model for us to follow. We didn't have to do any scouting. We didn't have any, film to watch or break down. We basically had to do what we call by the seat of our britches. And I knew at that time, if I was going to be on the bench, there's no one I wanted more to be there with me than Sue Gunter.
Now, it was something about climbing into a limousine, is that correct?
I think we got in the back of a limousine from the airport in New York to go to an All-American game, and I think Sue and I got in the jump seat in the back. And we had to ride with taxi people from New York City to Bridgeport, Connecticut. Correct? Sue was stunned because going in there, it was an All-American game, going in to play against Ray Vestas Breakheads, and I believe they hit Sue cleanup because she had the highest batting average. So here we had all these home run hitters hitting ahead of her, and Sue at cleanup. Did you have any doubles in your career, or were they all just singles?
I love Sue Gunter, and that's why I'm up here, because I'm not a stage guy. I can promise you that. I was with boys for 10 years. In 1977, I went to Louisiana Tech and was assistant under Ms. Hogue, and that's how I got to meet Sue. But I got to tell you, from 77 to about 1980, I was so afraid of all the women. And some of you I see here again tonight. I was afraid to even speak to you, but there was two that I always felt good to speak with, and they spoke back. And that was Betty James and Sue Gunter. And that's the truth. But I found out that was off the court, because when we went to Stephen F. to play, I want to tell you a real quick one. We go to Stephen F. and Ms. Hope usually holds me back from the referees, but I kept seeing Sue say, "Come here, Jimmy. Come here, Jimmy."
Oh, Jimmy Rice.
Well, his name was Jimmy Rice, and he refereed every game we had. And Sue called him over there, Jimmy sprint over there right in the middle of the game, and she say something to him, and we pick up 3 fouls. I'm not too smart, but I got to figure that deal out. And I said, "Son, if she calls Jimmy over one more time, I'm calling Jimmy over." "No, don't you do that, Leon. Don't you do that." I said, "Hey, Jimmy, come over here." Pam Kelly gets her 4th foul. So Jimmy comes running by, and I say, "Jimmy, come here." He kicks me out. I'm not making this up. I go by Sue's bench, leaving the arena. Eleanor Griffin, a 6'5" post player, comes, "Coach, don't go." She didn't know I was kicked out. She said, "Don't go, please don't go." She thought I was quitting. I was about where Sue was now. I'm at that end. I'm headed to the dressing room, and she said, "Don't go." And I said, "Eleanor, I got to go." And Sue said, "That's right, he's got to go." I love you, girl.
In those days, we would have known somebody's family was in town, right? I guess I have to tell this story truthfully, because I think you have about 25 of those Stephen F. Austin players back in the back. So they're going to know whether I tell the truth or not. Sue and I had started to play against each other when I was at Sam Houston. She was at Stephen F. Austin. I took a job at UT Arlington, and we really had no program. In fact, I was trying to teach volleyball players to play basketball. But on our schedule, as it was structured then, I had to play Stephen F. Austin about 4 times. And every time they didn't just beat us, as kids today say, they blew us up. And it wasn't even close. And as we progressed through the season, somehow Sue's team got to the regional, seeded number 1, and my poor little team got there by probably the last place in the tournament. So we go to Magnolia, Arkansas for a regional tournament. And as luck would have the draw, we play a first round game that if we manage to win it, then we're going to play Sue's Stephen F. Austin team in the second round. and that's their first game because they had a bye. So we managed to win that first game and go back to the hotel, and I'm looking at the bracket and thinking, okay, we've got to play Stephen F. Austin. We haven't played them within 30 points this whole year. There was only one hotel in Magnolia, and I had a little bit of money. I don't want to date us, Sue, but we didn't carry credit cards then, and there definitely weren't any ATM machines. So I decided, okay, we're going to go ahead and check out of the hotel before this game because we're not going to be here and not going to need it the next night. And I have a little bit of cash. Well, I use my cash and pay for this hotel, and we go to the gym, and Sue drives in with her team that day, and we play. And you know, there's always some things that aren't predictable in sports, and we won. And now I have no money and no hotel rooms. Sue has hotel rooms and a lot of money that she's not going to need. So I go up to Sue and I say, Sue, I can't keep my team here unless you'll loan me some money. And Sue gave me, I think, $200, and I was able to stay one more game until we lost. But I think that tells you about where our sport was. I think it tells you about Sue's passion and her commitment and her ability to stick to it to get to where we are today. But even more than that, I think it tells you about Sue and the kind of person she is. We've had some rivalries over time. We've had a couple of really hard-fought games over the last couple of seasons, but I bet if in one of those situations, win or lose, if I had asked Sue to loan me some money, she would have.
To that position, Sue. The second thing, to destroy all myths with all you great women coaches here tonight, that men and women cannot get along and coach in the same program, is an absolute fallacy. 15 years. I can't even say this about my wife in 40 years. We never got into one argument, one disagreement. In fact, Pat, please don't trip me when I leave the stage. I've had a lot of thrills in this Pete Maravich Assembly Center, but one of the greatest thrills you gave me when I sat down there when you beat Pat here. The greatest tribute I can give, what a true friend is as a coach, was we had somebody sold somebody on Tartan courts. Economy and administration of it, you could clean it up easy, and it was good on the knees, and it was a bunch of baloney. Finally, we convinced the people in the athletic department we needed a wood court. And so the first day, Sue always practiced at 1 o'clock, and our team practiced at 3. So the first day the court was up that night, and they finished it up about midnight, and I was anxious to watch the girls practice on the court, and I came down out of the office, which used to be in the Assembly Center, and the girls weren't here. And I looked at my watch, and it's 1:15, and I saw one of the managers walking over on the side. I said, "Mary, where's Sue's team?" He said, "She didn't want them to practice on the court first because you've been here longer than her." That's class, Sue. Thanks.
Off the court, unless you really know about Sue and about Pat and how they go back. And Pat, you go back to when you were a player and she was a coach on the Olympic team, and then you wound up being her assistant. So I know you've seen Sue from a couple of different angles, as a coach for you, an assistant to you, and an opponent of you.
I wouldn't touch yours. Sue, can't believe I called you Sue. I always call you Gunter, and you always call me Head. You know, I've been married 24 years, and if I make it to 25, will you call me Summit? No, it's Head and it's Gunter. And so today, when I was getting ready to come down, I said to my husband, RB, and you got a lot of your SEC coaching buddies here, I said, RB, everyone knows, anyone that's been in our arena or been in an arena when we were playing and RB was in the house, he can be heard. Not that I can't, but he can be heard yelling at officials, and he'll even yell at the other coaches. And I go, RB, did you ever yell at Gunter? Thought for a minute, and he goes, no, I never did. But he said, I almost did when she came into Thompson Bowling in those leather pants. We go way back, and I had the great fortune of playing for Sue. And first of all, as Sue was the head coach, and we went to Taiwan, and I think that's where she really learned how to squat, because we were beating them, and there were 10,000 people there, and they were not real friendly, and they were booing us, and they were throwing whatever they had in their hands at us. And Sue was, you know, squatting down like she was coaching, but I know she was trying to get out of the way. But I learned so much from Sue, and you've had a tremendous impact on so many people, players, coaches, administrators, and I am certainly one of those that benefited from being taught by you and understanding that you can coach and not yell and be patient and work with people and show them how much you truly love them. Oh, I benefited from having played for Coach Gunter, and I'm just honored that I had that opportunity. And then you became Billy's assistant coach. What a great choice. And your friendship goes back for years, and at least you never wore those black cat-eye glasses that Billy wore. You were much cuter when you came in. And I just remember Billy being really tough. I mean, I do have a little Billy in me. That's Billy when you see that. But the thing that I do remember is we'd have to touch every line. We'd have to make every time on our sprints. And Gunter finally felt sorry for us, and she'd be down at the other end. And in case anybody didn't touch the line, she said, touch the line. And we'd come back down, she'd go, touch the line. And then the next time we come down, we go, don't tell Billy. It's a good thing that we never told Billy, or Billy might not even be here tonight. But to have the opportunities that we had to be around people that genuinely love the game and do it with great passion, but more importantly, they really love the players, and they gave us their all. So Sue got a lot of great memories. I said, being your roommate, when we were in Varna in 1980 trying to qualify, when you said
they were playing, Sue's about people, she's about development. The player goes into the I know it's bad timing, I've struggled with this, but you said to come talk to you anytime. She said, I know a player like me is a dime a dozen, and I can't impact your program, because you're going to say, you got that right. But this is what she finished with. It's not about you impacting the program, it's the impact I can have on you. And what I want to say is you have impacted me big time. Thank you, I love you.